Before I came to First Steps, I was heavily addicted to drugs and alcohol. My wife and I were living with my mom, and we had filed bankruptcy probably 3 or 4 years before that. We had a car that we were 4 or 5 months behind on, and we were hiding from the repo man because if they came to our address and saw it, they would have taken our car. And I had no money at all in savings. I didn't even pay my bills, let alone, my debts. I was behind on my electric bill. I was behind on my gas bill. That was the agreement with my mom when we moved in, that we would pay those bills and she wouldn't charge us rent. And we couldn't even keep up with that because I was spending, close to $1,000 a month just on drugs and alcohol. My relationship with my kids was awful. I was constantly getting, taken out of my house in handcuffs by the police because my wife and I would be arguing, and I'd be punching the walls or slamming chairs on the floor, and my neighbors would call the cops because of all the commotion they'd hear, and I'd start screaming at the cops, and I'd see my oldest daughter run up to the police officers and tell them, leave my daddy alone. 5, 6 years old at the time, and it was just complete chaos. My wife, she had a very similar past to Dani's, very similar childhood. I just completely took advantage of her. I completely took advantage of the fact that she didn't have it in her to stand up to me and did whatever I wanted. And I remember sitting in my house looking down over the balcony thinking that if I fell off if I just leaned over and went over the balcony and landed on my head, that would do the trick, I'd die, and my wife could meet someone that would take care of my kids and would take care of her and would provide for her financially and give her the life that she deserved. Thank God that she didn't have the ability to leave me, because had she left me, I probably would have killed myself. I went to First Steps, and Dani did the Gems segment, and she started talking about sapphires. And all of a sudden I heard Dani start talking about Ritalin, and talking about who was the principal's best friend in school, and that was me, and just all these other things that just was like, that's me. I just started bawling like a baby, because I would remember just being told by my mom, why can't you be like all the other kids? And I got put on Ritalin. The doctors actually wanted to lock me in an institution. I had a lot of anger in me and a lot of aggression in me, and so all these feelings and all these emotions came back. I just want to be free. I want to be able to be me and be okay with it. I want to not have to put on this facade for everybody. Something had to change. I've been sober for 1 year and two weeks now, and so that was the first huge change in my life. All of a sudden, once I was sober, and once I started dealing with all of these emotions instead of suppressing them down with drugs and alcohol, I started dealing with these emotions and learning how to deal with my anger and learning how to talk to my wife instead of screaming. So I came to a couple more First Steps, a couple more another Dynasty, and I learned how to form people. I learned how to listen to people. I applied for a job, and I got an interview, and I formed the guy. I left there confident that I was going to get the job, and I went to Dynasty. I was all excited because I was telling people how I went on this great job interview, and the pay was just out of this world. And even though I'm really not qualified for the job, I think I'm going to get it. I got a call, and Adam told me that he actually created a position for me, because they did give away the position that I interviewed for, but he was so impressed with my interview that he actually wanted to bring me on board, and he just created a hybrid position. So I've been working there since June 3rd, making more money than I've ever made. Paid off my wife's car that we were going to get repossessed. I have a car of my own now. My wife and I have paid off almost $40,000 of debt since November of 2012. And my relationship with my kids is amazing. You know, I have a son now, and my wife's actually pregnant with our 4th child now. Her and I get along great. It's just, you know, Dani says, you know, give her a year of your life and you won't recognize it. And she's absolutely 100% true, because, you know, if you would have told me back in November of 2012 that I would have an amazing job, that I would have paid off $40,000 worth of debt, that my wife and I would be getting along, that my wife and I would have a relationship that I mutually respect each other, we mutually respect each other, that my kids would want to be around me. I can't tell you like how I'll just come home from work and my daughters just run up and give me a huge hug. And, you know, I'm finally the dad that they deserve. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve what I have. And it's amazing what God can do when you listen and you become teachable and you listen to people who have done it before you, like Dani. And I'll be eternally grateful to Dani Johnson, because she saved my life, she saved my marriage, she saved my family. And because of her and her saying yes to her calling with God, my kids now have a father in their lives. And I could be the man that I had in my life growing up. My dad was an amazing person. And I can finally be that guy to my family. And I am that guy to my family now.